baik tu dia jadi mereka tahu रेडियो फीजी बहुत रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
Good evening, Fiji. In this bulletin, suspended SEDELPA Points Management Board. Police officer arrested in curfew breach. And almost 800 dengue fever cases confirmed.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Spate.
Various constituencies of the suspended Social Democratic Liberal Party have begun appointing their management board representatives in order to rectify anomalies within the party. A task force under Vice President Vijay Singh has agreed that a new management board is needed as many of the previous members' tenure has lapsed. FBC News has confirmed the task force includes Sitiveni Rambuka, Chope Kroesavo, Bane Dan, Devita Tambalekaleka and Tanya Wanganika. It is understood that the suspended SEDELPA Management Board is to meet in the second week of June to confirm a date for a special general meeting when new executives will be appointed. It has until mid-August to comply with the directives of the Register of Political Parties. The seasonal ban for kawakawa and donu will still come into effect from tomorrow unless the Cabinet approves the suspension. The Ministry of Fisheries is tonight waiting for a response, having weighed the threats to food security due to COVID-19. Apinisa Wangarandovu reports the recommendation came after the Prime Minister's visit to outer islands where he was asked to consider deferring the ban.
While the ministry awaits a final decision, Fijians are being advised to refrain from catching the two species.
Because there has already been a release in the middle of this month about the ban going on the 1st, I would assume that that is still legal unless Cabinet has given the approval for the ban to be lifted. I would suggest that we stick on to the original discussions. And
the ministry made a submission to Cabinet asking that the ban on kawakawa and donu harvesting be deferred. This will be designed to ensure communities in the maritime areas have food security. Corilla Visau says numerous processes will be considered before amendments are made.
There has been a lot of requests from all Fijians about lifting the ban for this year. But because it is under the legislation, I had to seek Cabinet approval to change that legislation and lift the ban for this year so that the decision is legally binding.
Under the legislation, penalties for individuals and companies in breach of the law range from $10,000 to $100,000. Apinisa Wangarandovu, FBC News.
A police officer was arrested last night for breaching curfew. Gilio says the officer was arrested after hiring a taxi from Nandi to Lautoka during curfew hours, saying he needed to get to work. The driver took the officer directly to the Lautoka police station because he was acting suspicious and was allegedly drunk. A 31-year-old man was arrested at G2 Estate after he was found moving around after midnight. 13 arrests were made in Raiwanga Suva, including juveniles found moving around during the curfew hours. Altogether, there were 36 breaches of curfew arrests. 70 staff of Laudala Island Resort were terminated last month due to the impacts of COVID-19 on Fiji's tourism industry. Fijian Director of Laudala Resort Limited, Florence Fenton, says the majority of them were from the guest services. A few former staff contacted FBC News, claiming they were promised that they would be called back to resume work, but were terminated instead and not allowed to return. FBC News was told that their belongings were later sent to them individually. Fenton says they have followed all proper legal processes and involved the Ministry of Employment before redundancies were finalised. Fenton says it's neither feasible nor fair to keep staff on leave without pay indefinitely. Fiji has recorded 791 cases of dengue fever as of the 25th of this month. There have also been 278 confirmed cases of leptospirosis and 77 typhoid. Minister for Health Dr. Firemi Wanganabete says these numbers are far less than cases recorded in previous years. Dr. Wanganabete says this is mainly due to the work with other stakeholders around the country to ensure that people are safe from communicable diseases. He adds that people will need to work together in the nationwide cleanup campaigns to eradicate communicable diseases.
Because at the end of the day, communicable disease knows no barrier. You know, it spreads. You know, it doesn't understand ethnicity or religion, and then you know that we have to collectively work as a nation to continue to suppress these.
Up ahead, USP anticipates drop in revenue. And Walesi educational program kicks off tomorrow.
Pula natang ko proslan ngarse, ko erkraki. Do televizyon na barong na radio Fijuan, nandomi bit.
Radio Fiji 1 nandomo ibiti.
11 senior members of the management team at the University of the South Pacific have taken a voluntary pay cut as the institution expects a drop in revenue. Vice-Chancellor Professor Paul Aluwalia says the actual reduction will be confirmed around mid-July when USP begins to confirm numbers for the second semester. Lena Reese has more.
In preparation for the eventuality of reduced income, the University of the South Pacific is cutting back expenditure.
So, you know, we're not doing any CAPEX funding, we're not doing any funding on our strategic plan initiatives. We're, you know, we've saved a lot of money because nobody's traveling anywhere, and as a regional university, we usually have spent quite a bit of money on traveling. So wherever we can save money, we've been saving it. And it's sort of like almost squirreling away everything for a rainy day.
With travel restrictions in place, more than 500 regional students still live within the Lodala campus. Professor Aluwalia says support from the 12 governments that own the university has helped keep the institution financially afloat.
Some governments have already paid us in advance for the year. You know, they're so committed to the education of their students. And so I think this can all augurs very well for the university.
USP resumed classes through flexible learning online from the 20th of April.
So what we have done is to stagger out the assessment in such a way that towards the end of the semester, we'll come up with the same outcome. So for example, throughout the semester now, we're having more assignments and short tests, online short tests. So, but they'll come up and sum up to the same outcome as having a final examination towards the end of the semester.
The university will continue remote classes until COVID-19 restrictions have eased. Lena Reese, FBC News.
The free-to-air education channel on the Walesi platform starts tomorrow. The Education Ministry will air most curriculum-based lessons to ensure students stay up to date with schoolwork while schools are closed. Apinisa Wangarandovo reports.
Students will have access to a wide range of educational programs in all subjects from kindergarten to year 13.
We are in the final stages, and the officials from the ministry, especially the Curriculum Advisory Services team, has produced local segments, teaching segments for the platform to be aired soon.
The minister says these are supplementary platforms, and the ministry understands that not many families might not have access to Walesi.
The plan now is to ensure that these are supplementary resources. These are not the only resources that we are providing to our children. You are aware that we've kept our school doors open with our teachers still continuing to prepare our worksheets. So the options are there.
Parents are again reminded that these resources are supplementary and designed to keep children engaged in their studies while safe at home. The minister adds students will not be tested on the content. Schools are scheduled to reopen in about 2 weeks, given that there are no further cases of coronavirus. Apinisa Wangarandovo, FBC News.
After bartering groceries in exchange for cupcakes, 41-year-old Vasanai Lauta this morning sailed for Kandavo to distribute relief supplies to families affected by TC Harold. Lauta, who runs the Nai Nui Nui Trust, decided she had to do something after seeing the devastation on the island. Faria Begum has more.
Vasanai Lauta had made up her mind to help the people of Kandavu after her son told her of the havoc tropical cyclone Harold wreaked on her island home.
Yeah, knowing my son for who he is and how terrified he was on the phone when he managed to get through to us, that drew my attention to feel how much damage TC Harold had done for the island. And then every time we tried contacting them, we couldn't get through. We just couldn't sit. Every thought was always on them.
Lauta used the Barter for Better Fiji platform, asking people to trade groceries for cupcakes.
So we decided to sacrifice our cupcakes. And we posted, and the response was so great that in one night we were making about 400 cupcakes so that we could give to 30 people that would barter with us on one day.
Through the help of the Commissioner Easton's office, the Nai Nui Nui Trust was able to identify the 63 families in Kandavu who are in desperate need of assistance.
We're working with the Turani Koro of each village. And through the Turani Koro, we'll actually get the families in need in those villages and distribute the items that they need.
The Ministry of Transport also pitched in to provide an inter-island vessel to take the relief supplies across. Faria Begum, FBC News.
It was not the end of the world for award-winning young chef Nicholas Jordan when he was sent on leave due to the impacts of COVID-19. The 26-year-old has gone from world standard commercial kitchen to cooking in a family friend's food truck launched 2 days ago. Faria Begum with Jordan's success story.
Nicholas Jordan was inspired to cook at an early age when his mother went abroad and there was no one to cook for his father and 2 brothers.
We all were at home, and then I took up cooking responsibilities from there and basically just took it as a career.
Jordan says there was no turning back from there onwards as he knew cooking would take him to greater heights.
I joined university in FNU in Nasese. From there I had gone down to Nandi, finished off certificate level, which was Certificate 4, and then I did a trade test as well.
Since then, Jordan has gained a lot of experience after working for several popular restaurants.
I started from Castaway as an apprentice, and I worked my way up in ranks slowly. So I worked in Castaway Island, I went to Mana Island Resort, been to Windrocker Bay, I left Windrocker, joined Malamala Beach Club, and then I left and went right up to Yasawa, where I currently am still employed at Yasawa Island Resort. And I left because we're on leave at the moment. So I've been in mainland. I was at Lancito's restaurant at Canoe, and I had left and I joined, now basically joined the food box and set up the menu and stuff.
For Jordan, working in a food truck is no different from cooking for 5-star resorts because he's still feeding people and still doing what inspires him. Jordan has also been honored with a number of awards.
2016 I was Junior Chef of the Year. 2017 I represent Fiji in Guam. So we went as a Fiji team. From 2017 onwards I've been basically runner-up of Chef of the Year.
The 26-year-old executive chef has only one advice for young people who would like to pursue a career in the food industry.
Don't stay in a place too long, because then you know everything, or you've known, and then you start, There's always shortcuts and stuff that the chefs do. So, and once you go up in ranks, it gets a bit more, basically that shortcut goes to your juniors and they learn it and then it moves. Whereas if you keep moving, there's something new you will always learn in a new environment, new workplace. So that's the way I did it. I didn't stay in one place for too long.
This is not the end for Jordan, as he is working towards one day owning a restaurant. Faria Begum, FBC News.
Turning overseas, fiery protests continue in several U.S. states after the death of an unarmed black man at the hands of police. A former police officer has been charged with murder and manslaughter, while 3 others are under investigation. In sports ahead, more local invitational games for football and new players to feature for Fijiana's side. This and more after the break.
and I'm from Karavi. And Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
The Fiji Football Association wants to host more invitational games post-COVID-19 to align with Coach Fleming Seretslav's new philosophy of improving standards. Local footballers have been found to lack two major components: controlling the speed of the ball and choosing the timing of an attack. Karatavi reports.
Speaking during a women and youth coaching workshop, the national coach said having the right play can change the entire pace of the game.
About being able to play the ball fast, it's about being able to play the ball with the correct speed and playing it in the correct angle and playing with a few touches. Then the game on its own will be faster very soon.
With plans to restart tournaments by July 1st, Fiji FA Chief Executive Mohammed Yusuf says they are looking to change the format.
Do away with the current format and have a new format where other teams will be invited because our current national coach believes the more the matches the players play, the better they will be.
The Fiji Football Association is planning to cut down on the number of matches to be played should local competitions resume. The association's new revised calendar will indicate the number of matches to hold for the remainder of the 2020 season. Karlini Tavi, FBC Sports.
The inclusion of 6 new players in the Fiji Airways Fijiana's 7 side will build a strong base and depth for the next leg of the HSBC series. Coach Sayasi Fuli remains tight-lipped on who the 6 are, but agrees there's a lot of work to be done. Karatavi with the details.
I have been playing with Bringing in new players to the Fijiana side will keep the future of women's 7 strong as more players compete for a spot in the squad.
Future of Sevens rugby is healthy. And I just need to keep introducing the new girls to the environment and keep them occupied and challenge the current squad members for a spot in the series.
New players will need to be exposed to international level competitions to gain experience.
And they need to play more rugby, engage them in the Skip Cup competition, the Sevens window, other regional tournaments. The more they play rugby, the more they can gain experience and the knowledge and expose them to international competition.
The Fiji Rugby Union is working out a way to ensure that the men and women's team earn some game time in the midst of sporting restrictions due to COVID-19.
And once the restrictions are lifted, then we will plan accordingly in terms of arranging programs and matches so that both our women's and men's sevens team have game time opportunities.
The next leg of the HSBC 7 series is the London and Paris tournaments, which has been postponed to September due to the current pandemic. Karlini Tavi, FBC Sports.
The Canberra Raiders have maintained their unbeaten start to the season with an impressive 22-6 victory over Melbourne Storms at AMI Park on last night. The West Tigers register another win over Cronulla Sharks of round 3 of the NRL 2020 season at Bankwest Stadium last night. Occasional showers and few thunderstorms were experienced over northern, eastern and central divisions. Cloudy conditions prevailed over the western division, with showers becoming frequent in the afternoon. Now taking a look at the map in the west, showers and thunderstorms were experienced over most places. Eastwards from Pacific Harbour to Suva, similar conditions prevailed. And up north, more showers and thunderstorms. At sea, easterly winds 10 to 15 knots, moderate seas. And turning to the tides, the next high tide is at 7:24 a.m. tomorrow. Sunrise is at 6:31. Now, for tomorrow, occasional showers and a few thunderstorms over Vanua Level, Taviuni and nearby smaller islands, eastern and interior Viti Level, Lau and Lomai Viti group. Elsewhere, some showers and isolated thunderstorms, cool at night. And looking further on to Tuesday, it's similar conditions to prevail. Now, recapping the main stories for tonight, suspended SEDELPA begins appointment of management board. Police officer arrested for breaching curfew, and USP anticipates drop in revenue due to COVID-19. Now, for these stories and others, tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. Our poll question we're asking: is Fiji facing a major problem with animal abuse? Visit our FBC website to answer. And remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj. Share it with us via Facebook page FBC News and our Twitter page at FBC_news. You can also hashtag FBC News. That's your news for tonight. I'll see you again at 6:15 tomorrow morning. Until then, bye for now.
Bola, I'm Miri, I'm from Lotoka, and I love Gold FM because they play all my classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.